It's time to crack open a can of beer and be prepared for Stone Cold Steve Austin. And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so. Hey guys, me host Super Sorrel, thank you very much for tuning in with Gregor. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is from the Monday Night War series from Mattel as part of the WWE Elite Collection. I picked this up from Smith's Toys here in the UK for £20. This, like I say, is Stone Cold Steve Austin, the first figure in the brand new WWE vs. Raw new toy line. And I am really happy to have this. And it'll have the first Build-A-Figure piece for Lex Luger. I have got all four of the figures. They include Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Undertaker, and of course Stone Cold himself. So stay tuned as we will be reviewing all of them, including Lex Luger, over the coming days. As I've mentioned before, I was a big WCW fan growing up. And I've always said if I was going to jump in on the WWE collectibles, which I want to, I would want to jump in with figures that I knew. I do watch modern wrestling, don't get me wrong. I'm all about the Bloodline and Roman Reigns, and I'm very much looking forward to WrestleMania. But I grew up in a time of I didn't have Sky Sports, which in the UK is where the WWE at the time was most prevalent. And I couldn't watch WWE because I just didn't have the ability. But what I did have, we had Sky TV, as they call it, which is like our version of cable. And when Cartoon Network would end on a Friday night, it would turn into TNT television. And they would show WCW Monday Night Nitro, but on a Friday night. So they would show the repeat of Monday Night Nitro for us. And I would be able to sit and watch Nitro. I grew up knowing more about WCW than WWE, really. It wasn't until a lot later that I managed to get into WWE. I knew of WWE, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I didn't know it. It was just that all we had in the UK, all I had available to me anyway, was like a catch-up show on like Sky One on like a Saturday morning that was like an hour, 2 hours long. And it would basically give you the highlights from that week's Raw and SmackDown. That's all I pretty much had to keep me going on WWE. So because I could watch the weekly show of Nitro, I got into that. And with the fact that Mattel are starting to give us figures from that time era, because when the Monday Night Wars kicked off, that's when I started tuning in to the catch-up show for WWE a lot more, because they started mentioning WCW. Like when DX turned up to the arena where Nitro was being filmed. That kind of stuff as a kid blurred the lines between kayfabe, real, and all that stuff. And to me as a kid growing up, that was the coolest era ever, because it felt like these two companies were definitely at war. And they genuinely were. They hated one another for a long time. But obviously, inevitably, Vince McMahon would buy out WCW, and the invasion would begin. And that's when I had to start watching WWE properly, because that was the only wrestling available then for many, many years. But yes, WCW was my original introduction to wrestling. I'm a big fan of Sting. Sting is my favourite wrestler of all time. So I'm hoping that they continue this series. I know they've already announced another couple of figures like Booker T, Stevie Ray, and others. And they've announced that they're going to be doing the WCW Monday Night Nitro ring with Eric Bischoff. I believe that's a Creations product. So I'm very much excited to see where this all goes. And if they do produce a Monday Night War Sting, I'll be so happy. Right, whilst I was talking there, I have just unboxed Stone Cold. So let's go down to the desk cam and give you guys an up-close personal look at Mr. Steve Austin. I honestly do feel like there should be a glass shattering sound effect right now. Don't worry, I will be doing my wrestling reviews from a wrestling ring going forward. I do have my AEW ring. I never put the stickers on my AEW ring, so it is just plain black. So I will be using that for wrestling reviews going forward. But for today, you've got the regular background. Like I say, I am going to get into WWE figures more and more if they continue this old school approach. I would like the older wrestlers from the 90s rather than the modern stuff. That's just my collecting. It mainly sits with a lot of nostalgia, so that's why. Taking a look, though, at this Stone Cold Steve Austin, that face sculpt is pretty decent. I've never been a fan of the face sculpts on a lot of WWE products. That's why I've always kind of shied away, but they're getting better all the time. Obviously, every company, the toy company is getting better and better these days with their face sculpts and likenesses and things like that. This actually does look like Stone Cold. Now, I know this jacket is in keeping with what the figure is all about. He's wearing that on the box and stuff, but I'm not the biggest fan, so I am going to take this jacket off. And obviously he's got his Austin 316 t-shirt underneath, which to me is a lot more iconic. So I'm going to remove the hoodie, the jacket. I drank a beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, 4 beers. I do like the fact that they are starting to introduce more and more cloth goods with WWE figures now as well, because obviously wrestlers come in 2 styles, and for years they've always given us like the civilian versions of the figures and then the wrestling attire version of the figures, which I know is great for business, but as a consumer it was so annoying, especially growing up in the 90s when I was collecting toys, because they would release like Triple H with the DX shirt on and stuff, but he would never wrestle with the shirt on. He would always take it off. So you kind of would then have to use 2 versions of the figure and things like that. So like you'd have this guy walking down to the ring, then you'd have to get your other figure of Stone Cold without the shirt on. So it's just one of them things. It always annoyed me as a kid, but I'm glad we've moved away from that, and we've got these like cloth ones now that are removable, which is great. And this, I love the fact that it's got the Stone Cold blue flaming skull on there as well. Very nice, and the hat as well. Very nice touch. It's very tight to the head, but it is completely removable as well. Now, he does come with a closed fisticuffed hand, of course he does, because he can lay the smack down. No, that's The Rock. So he can whoop some No, that's The Rock as well. Open a can of whoop-ass. That's the one. Open a can of whoop-ass. I had to think of a catchphrase from the 90s that wasn't The Rock's then. And, of course, he's got a good old beer-chugging hand, and it does come with a plain can. Could they not get a sponsor for the figure? I need to download a Bud Light, oh god, I don't say a Bud Light Stone Cold to go mental, but I need to download a Bud logo to attach to that beer can. I drank a beer, drank 2 beers, 3 beers, 4 beers, 5 beers. I know they can't have that on there because obviously for advertising, but you would have thought that if worked with something like put even Stone Cold's own, because I know he's got his own beer brand. So surely they could have asked Stone Cold to, if they could put his logo on his own action figure. Surely. But either way, top notch. Let's take a look at articulation though. Like I say, we do have 2 alternate hands. We do have so you can basically switch them around, so you can put the grab hand on this side, or you can have 2 closed fisticuffed hands. Having an open palm hand is okay anyway, even though it's kind of thing, because obviously for wrestling and stuff, you don't want just closed hands all the time, so you can kind of make it work. Although that thumb looks very painful. Articulation-wise, so the figure, the head is on a ball joint, so he can't really look up that much actually, but he can look down. A little bit of head tilting there. Arms move up this side hinge and do rotate. No butterfly hinge. Double hinged elbows that wrap all the way around, and hands are on hinge joints there, which is nice. We've got a nice abdomen crunch there as well, which it's moving back very easily and crunching forwards as well, very nice and fluid. We do have the waist swivel as well, which is nice. Top thigh cuts there, legs do lift out quite well. And forwards, you kind of want it, there we go. Forwards, backwards, not so much. Double hinge knees though, that do wrap, there we go, quite far round, nice. Ooh, that top hinge needs heating. Very stiff. And then the feet just tilt forwards and backwards. Oh, they do rock as well. They have got rocker. And display pegals, should you wish to use a display base. Nice. And like I say, because they've got these like cloth clothing on, you can completely remove the clothing for the wrestling match as well, which is cool. So you can display them however you want. I'm going to be displaying Stone Cold like this. Might keep his hat on and his beer can, obviously. But yeah, that is Stone Cold to me right there. And he looks awesome. Guys, what are your thoughts on this Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure? And are you looking forward to the next figure in the wave? Obviously, we do have the first Build-A-Figure piece here for our Lex Luger. And I'm looking forward to building him over the coming episodes. So guys, what are your thoughts on Stone Cold? Let me know in the comments down below, because Stone Cold said so. And thank you very much for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, Austin 316 says I just whooped your ass. Bye!